So I'm looking at a report that was released by GEPA, the Ghana Export Promotions Authority, and this is the annual non-traditional export statistics. And I believe this report is one of the most important reports to any entrepreneur, any business owner in Ghana. And the reason why, let me put it here first. The reason why I'm showing these statistics is because I've had several conversations with a couple of friends. I tend to be in a position whereby my friends ask me, Awule, what kind of business can we start? And this is my honest opinion. If I know the kind of business you start to make you $1 million, I cannot come and tell you, throughout the history of business, the most predictable way and the most efficient way to start a business is by leveraging on data. And I believe most of us tend to ignore the data and just jump into the glitz and glamour. Only, business like I'm shipping cars and then your cars are coming. Oh, what are you doing? I'm into real estate. I'm not saying these things don't work, but what I'm saying is there is money in places we do not focus on. If you go about so kind right now, the kind of money them people they touch. You know, be easy. I don't talk say the DME for price and all those things don't work. It works, but I'm saying we can leverage on this data that is being released by these GAPA people to open new opportunities, to open new markets that we can venture as the youth. Because the bigger guys, but this is what we can do, leverage on the data and then explore these new opportunities. My name is Nia Oladigo. I'm a business analyst. And without wasting much of your time, let's get into the data. I'm better and I can feel bull. Now I am. What time? So I believe this report was released in 2025 by GEPA, the Ghana Export Promotions Authority. And basically what the data is about is the annual traditional export statistics report 2024. And the way GEPA defines this report is, it says, these are all exported products, including cocoa beans, log, lumber, unprocessed gold, and minerals. And I do not want to bore you with all these terminologies and all. I'll put the link in the bio. I think it will be on YouTube, so I'll put the link in the bio. If you want to go through the entire statistics, you can download it and look at it. But the reason why I'm making this video is I want us to explore the data and see the kind of opportunities and the kind of markets that we can open within the data that is being produced. So first, let's look at the data that is within the report that was produced by GEPA. And we are going to look at this data within 3 sectors. We are going to look at the trading partners, the sectors, and then the product that are really driving all the revenue into the country. So let's look at it by continent by continent. If you look at the left side, it says NTEs, continental and country dynamics. And if you look at it, you can clearly see that 38% of the non-traditional exports is within Africa, which means there are Africans buying the products that Ghana is producing, which means we are trading between each other. And another 38% goes to Europe. If you look at Asia, it's just 14%, which means there's a growing market over there. But it's not really growing like that. If you look at North America, life don't believe only. I don't know if it's because it's Trump who is doing the thing. That's why we are not having so many expectations going there. But I believe it's a growing market. Trump, no, I think there are a lot of trade regulations and all that. I think that maybe that's the reason why we are not exporting so much to North America like that. If you look at South America, they are like us, no? South America, 1%. They are like us. I mean, they are just like us. If you look at Oceania, that's the Canadian side, it is cool. Non-traditional export, nothing is going there. But probably it might be a market for us to explore. And then if you look at Asia, we have a 14%. That's also another growing market. But what we have to focus on is Africa and then Europe. And the reason why Africa, I believe Africa, we have over 38% of the non-traditional export going there is because of the agriculture. Because we are producing like yam, banana, and we trade between each other because we share borders. So logistics is not like really that expensive. So I think that's the reason why we have that those numbers. And then probably Europe. Let me look at my data here. And then when we move to the trading partners, as I said before, Africa, look at Africa. Burkina Faso alone is bringing over $483 million within 2024. So I believe there is a lot of intertrading going on between the countries. And so is Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire is bringing over $236 million. $210 million intertrade, and I believe most of them is agriculture. Because the borders are not really that big, so got to be a thing. And if you look at Europe, Netherlands also brought in over $555 million to UK. I wouldn't go through every single thing. If you want the data, I said I'll put it within the link, and then you can click it, and then you go explore it yourself. But now let's look at the sectors. As I said, if you look at the agriculture sector, agriculture is bringing a lot of money. Like, I was surprised when I saw raw share nuts. If you look at share nuts, it brought in over 270 million. That be cashew nuts, sorry. If you look at cashew nuts, it brought in over 270 million. If you look at share nuts, 82 million. If you look at banana, aquadu, get me feel bad. Life. Let's go. If you look at soya bean also brought in about $20.5 million. Based on the small analysis that we just made, you could clearly, I want us to ignore the manufacturing, the agriculture, and then focus. I'm not ignoring it. If you have money, go and venture. That's why I said I'll put the link of the document and then you can go and download it. But I want to focus on the places where I feel like there's the highest opportunity. And if you look at this chart closely, it says the percentage growth of the subsector in 2024-2025, and handcraft products increased by 0.23%. Agriculture stays stable, manufacturing reduced. And I don't think manufacturing reduced because of maybe we are not exporting a lot, or maybe the factories are dying or anything. But I believe maybe there were, the 2023-2024, there was a lot of uproar. There was Ukraine war, there was elections in Ghana. So I believe those also affected the little drop in the manufacturing sector. But they all stay stable, because if you look, manufacturer will drive the volume because those are the bigger guys. Agriculture products, they are stable because we are trading between African countries. And then the handcraft produce is what exactly I am looking at, where we are going to get the biggest opportunity. The corporate data, that's what we focus on. I am going to ignore agriculture and manufacturing for now, and let's focus on where the opportunity lies. So let's look at this chart. The top 10 products in 2024, the ones that gain massive growth. If you look at a product like cocoa powder, in 2023, it was, I think they brought in over $139 million. And then in 2024, they brought in only $100 million, which means there was a drop of 21% in that particular industry. Let's move on. Ceramic products, shocking, ceramics, which means ceramics. You can look into that industry, but it grew by 23%. If you look at natural rubber sheets, I don't know what rubber sheets are, but it also grew by 14%. And I'm not going to go through everything, but if you look from cocoa powder all the way to articles of plastics, these are all manufacturing products. That's why I said the bigger guys are the ones who play in these industries, because they are talking about manufacturing, processing. These are the bigger guys. Now, this chart is exactly what I want us to focus on. It says the top 10 leading handcraft products. And this is where I feel like the opportunities are. Pay attention and listen. Statues. Statue. The people that do all the Dagamadiani be here. I get a those are the statues I'm talking about. But it dropped. It dropped in 2023. They brought in over, I think, $31,000, and then in 2024 it dropped to $21,000. So that market is a little bit shaky. Look at Kente. Kente rose from 2023. They brought in I don't know if it's 62,000, but then look at the growth rate, over 500%. People are loving the Kente. They like what they see, and people are refining the Kente itself into Kente products, and people are buying it. And you can see the growth rate, over 500%. Get to go grow 500% there. On the machine. Look at bamboo and cane. The industry, bamboo cane furniture. They also, the growth rate, over 247% growth rate. Look at beads. Beads also brought in over, I think over $200,000. I wouldn't go through every single one, but what I'm trying to tell you, this is an industry that is really growing real fast. And you can see the contribution, although it contributed only 3% of the entire non-traditional exports, their growth rate based on each and every product is skyrocketing. I wouldn't be able to analyze every single opportunity that we can derive from this particular data. But I think one of the places that we can actually look at is the culture and the creative exports. Because if you look at Kente brought in, the growth rate of Kente was over 500%, which means people love the Ghanaian culture, which means there are small businesses we can start, like e-commerce brands, Kente, handcraft, bamboo. We can start e-commerce brands. Or you can even simply decide to be an outsourcing company to bigger companies outside Ghana. Or maybe there are companies in the US, in Europe, in Asia that want to sell these things. You can be like a quality control processing company that will outsource this kind of product and make sure you are supplying them with the best product. And I also believe there is a lot of opportunities in the export support services. If there is a lot of exports going out, then definitely there's going to be documentation, packaging, compliance, market access. So you can start businesses in these particular areas. The opportunities are endless. I believe we can always leverage on data like this to predict new markets, open new opportunities for us. There are companies paying billions of dollars to people to collect data. You understand? There are companies that only collect data just to predict what you can do. And if we can leverage on this free data that is being produced by GEPA, I believe we can open new opportunities for ourselves and for our generations to come. If you like this kind of data, like, share, and tell a friend to tell a friend that there's a guy called Nia Uladiko that produces this kind of content on the machine. I was watching YouTube the other day and there was a particular guy that made a particular phrase and I love the phrase. So I rephrased and made it my own. I think it was on Drewski's channel or something like that. Yeah. And he said, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. They mean care. If hustle don't kill us, money must. I cry with day. If I use your mind. See you in the next video.